Hello, everyone. And whew, we looked within ourselves. We did the product rule, and now we get to do one more. We get to learn the quotient rule in this one. And this is just as important using 4 stars. So before we get there, let's look at this function here. Let's do the derivative with respect to x of x over 2x plus 1. But let's do it with what we know, which is, let's do it with the product rule. Because I don't want to write rule product. Let's do it with the product rule. Well, we can write this as two functions being multiplied to each other. So we can rewrite this as x times 1 over 2x plus 1. Or we could even write that as x times 2x plus 1 to the negative 1. And that'll be nicely. Right? So using the product rule, here we go. It's going to equal the first times the derivative of the second. So the derivative of 2x plus 1, well, to the negative 1 will be negative 1. Oh, we got to use the chain rule too. My gosh, what a problem. The derivative of the outside leaving the inside alone, so leaving the 2x plus 1, and then we minus 1, which would make minus 2, times the derivative of the inside, and the derivative of 2x plus 1 would be times 2. All right, so continuing off the product rule, we had to take a little shortcut there for the chain rule, plus the second function times the derivative of the first, and the derivative of x is 1. So there we go. There's the derivative of that, and let's clean this up a little bit. So that's going to give us negative 2x over 2x plus 1 squared plus 1 over 2x minus, that should be a plus 1, I would believe, plus 2x plus 1 plus the second times the derivative first, yes. And if we were to combine these two right away, let's write this as where we'd have to multiply this by 2x plus 1 over 2x plus 1. And I'm doing this for a reason. It's not something necessarily you would always do. So then it would be negative 2x plus 2x, which would actually go to 0, plus 1. So we just get 1 over 2x plus 1 squared. And there's your derivative there. And that's great. So now, what is the quotient rule? So do we have to do that every time, rewrite it as a product of two functions? No, we actually don't. And this quotient rule is going to save us some time, so we don't have to do that. All right. And the quotient rule states 4 stars of importance. That if you have a function fx, which is equal to two functions that are dividing each other, say g of x over h of x, well then f prime of x will equal the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom squared. And that is the quotient rule. And I'm going to write it in words here, and then we'll look at this problem down here. So it is the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over, in all caps, the bottom squared. And there is the quotient rule, which is going to be awesome and useful to us. And we're going to say it aloud. I'm going to put a text box in this video, just like the other videos. You're going to say it yourself out loud so the people in the room can hear you and laugh about it and just make this really funny and odd memory that you're like, oh, do I really want my brain to memorize this and have this memory of me saying it out loud and my family just laughing at me? Well, yeah, why not? Life is about having fun. So here we go. In a good way, of course. So the quotient rule states the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom squared. Say it one more time. The bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom squared. And if I make my text box to the left, it's the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom squared. And there it is. And that's something you're going to want to use and memorize. Just have that ring in your head like a bad headache. But that's not funny. Bad headaches really hurt. My wife gets migraines all the time. So here we go. Example 2. Let's look at this same function that we just did, x over 2x plus 1. And let's see if we get the same thing with the quotient rule. So now the derivative is going to be the bottom times the derivative of the top, and the derivative of x is 1, minus the top times the derivative of the bottom, and the derivative of 2x plus 1 is 2, all over the bottom squared. Okay. Simplifying this, we have the derivative is equal to, well, that just makes 2x plus 1 minus 2x over 2x plus 1 squared. And while you look at that, if you simplify that, you also get 1 over 2x plus 1 squared. The same thing we got previously by breaking up as a product, as a function of two products, or a product of two functions. Yeah, that's right. Okay, awesome. Let's look at one more function. Let's look at the function 5x squared divided by x plus 3 squared. So using the quotient rule here, we have the bottom, which is x plus 3 squared, times the derivative of the top, so times the derivative of 5x squared, which would be 10x, minus the top times the derivative of the bottom, which is 2. Chain rule, leave that alone. And then times the derivative of the inside, which we actually got lucky. The derivative of the inside of x plus 3 is just 1. So we got lucky there. So where are we at? We have the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom. Oh yeah, all over the bottom squared. And there it is. I mean, that's the answer. We just like to clean it up so it doesn't look so bad. So if we clean this up, we're going to have 10x times x plus 3 squared minus 10x squared times x plus 3 all over x plus 3 to the 4th. And I guess we could get rid of one of the x plus 3's and write this finally as 10x x plus 3 minus 10x squared all over x plus 3 to the 3rd. And there's your answer there. And there it is, the quotient rule. The bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom square. All right, have fun making that audio clip and video clip. I'm excited to hear you say it yourself. All right. Wow, product rule, chain rule, and quotient rule. You guys are doing awesome. All right, bye-bye.